Next, we've got Jane McGough presenting A Literal Selection, The True Tale of a Wayward Wallaby. I turn my paper. It's based on the true story of an accidental caper that involved a county fair, a marsupial, a covered bridge, a clever country lady, and benevolent citizens who found themselves caught up in well-meaning yet comical events. Aren't they always? Zumbrota, Minnesota showed pride and determination in its care of Wally Wallaby. Events were heavily covered by newspaper reporters, and the story inspired some poets. The cast will recite some of those writers' work here tonight.
Hi there, dear.
Where have you been?
I was lost in the woods someplace called Zumbrota.
A likely story, Zumbrota indeed. That's the weirdest named place I've ever heard. It can't be true. Now tell me the truth if you can, without weaving any warped fantasies.
There I was since August, worn and wet in the wilderness, the weather worsening, fall waning, winter coming on. I did not waver under a hostile welkin. I tried several times to wangle rides back to St. Paul, but no one would pick me up. I lived on walnuts, wheat, wasps, weeds, worms, watercress, wintergreen, watermelons, wood sorrel, witch hazel, maple wigs, wisteria, white pine, wild ginger, weeping willows and water lilies, walking sticks and winter savory, winter cherries, winter squash, and winter melons. I nearly starved! I became weak and wandered aimlessly, my step wobbly, my thoughts wistful and wheeling about you.
Well, from the looks of you all fat, slick, and shiny, it looks like you've had a pretty good time somewhere.
Poor Wanda was a wallaby's wife. Her mate Wally caused her such strife. It seems he needed some time all alone, so they told of the coop he had flown. The stage was set at the annual county fair. Zumbrota is the fine headquarters there. Many came observing them, nature in a guest-like pen.
From Como Zoo, they've been booked. Like tiny kangaroos, they rather looked. When it was time to drive on back, Wally jumped through a little crack. Off he hopped on his safari, never did say he was sorry. All the country searched the park, the fields and woods until dark.
A mystery we find here in the middle, a third kangaroolet comes to riddle. Some Zumbrota men cannot dispute that they had bought a substitute. Weeks and months went on, and still the search went on and on until they staked poor Wanda to some brome, hoping that Wally would come home.
Alas, her charm he did ignore. The story now becomes folklore. It looked like Wally would perish then in winter's blast outside his pen. When everyone had given up, Wally was seen around a pup. A clever lady set a trap and caught our Wally just like that.
Was Wally smarter than we guessed? Did a capture think he best? Perhaps the moon in harvest risen reminded him of joys he'd been given. Wally's home again at the Como Zoo. His famous journey now is through. We wonder then, is he happy? Soon to be a proud new pappy?
Or are his thoughts still in the wild, hopping merrily like a child? Or we'll never know, can only deem. If we were Wally, how would it seem?